February might be the shortest month of the year, but there is no shortage of interesting facts about it. From serial killers to terrifying tragedies, this month has a bit of everything. So here are some dark facts we bet you didn't know about the second month of the year. But before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the creepy, chilling content we put out. So let's get into it. February-born people are known for their intelligence, independence, and the innate sense of adventure. But sometimes, just sometimes, this balance tips and they come off as withdrawn, calculative, unemotional, and extreme. That is for sure true in our first case, the case of the Green River Killer. During the 1980s and 1990s, teenage girls and young women were disappearing throughout the state of Washington and showing up dead. There was a serial killer on the loose, one that preyed upon women in vulnerable circumstances. It was Gary Ridgway, born on 18th of February 1949. Gary would strangle these women, dump their bodies, and would often return to the bodies to commit necrophilia. So how did he get captured? Now, that is a whole new story. If you want to know more about the Green River Killer, make sure to comment down below so we make a separate video for him. Gary would be convicted of 49 murders, but his confirmed run as a serial killer lasted from 1982 to 1998. It is believed that Gary had definitely killed about 71 people, but he admitted that his number was as high as 90. Gary made it as difficult as he could for the police to find him. He would contaminate the crime scenes before they were discovered, and he would drive the bodies of the victims across the state lines into Oregon and dump them. Gary also went into a dormant period after he married his third wife, Judith Mawson. Gary said that while he was married to Judith, his kill rate went down. Of the 49 known victims of Gary, only 3 were killed during his third marriage. Very nice of him indeed, isn't it? 2 members of the police force, Robert Keppel and Dave Reichert, would interview psychologists and criminologists in order to tap into the new resource of profiling in order to find out a killer as skillful as Gary. Gary was that good at killing and getting away with it. If you think Gary was the only serial killer who went about killing people and dropping off their bodies, then you're sorely mistaken. There is yet another chilling murder mystery that happened in February. The Moonlight murder mystery. The Moonlight murders occurred on February of 1946. There was a killer on the loose, and this time it was the Phantom Killer. 4 brutal crimes occurred in less than 3 months in Texarkana. 3 were violent attacks on young people parked on Lovers Lane, and the 4th was the shooting of a middle-aged couple in their farmhouse on the Arkansas side. At the end of the spree, 3 people had been seriously wounded and 5 had been shot dead. The traumatized survivors gave the police little to go on. Fear paralyzed the town. Women of means packed up their clothes and children and stayed at hotels when their husbands were away on business. They did not want to stay alone. They were scared. Others came up with homemade security systems, attaching pots and pans to the wire that was strung around their property. People who never owned guns slept with loaded pistols, and children never slept alone in their rooms. The Texas Gazette named this killer as the Phantom Killer. Decades later, the mayhem did not lose any of its hold on the public imagination, although imagination is a very operative word. A handful of books of wildly varying quality have been written about this case. The Town That Dreaded Sundown, a largely fictionalized movie, was released in 1976. In fact, there is even an urban legend based on this. The famous Hitman urban legend. The one that begins with a couple parked on Lover's Lane and ends with their discovering a bloody hook on the car's door handle. This is said to have been inspired by the Moonlight murders. In a state hardly celebrated for its peacefulness, the Texas Department of Public Safety once called the serial killings the #1 unsolved murder case in Texas history. No one knows who did it. No one. Let's wind the clock back to medieval times and skip from serial killers to witches. This is going to get even more darker. The Salem witch trials is believed to have begun on a LeapDay and lasted for 7 months, during which more than 150 people were arrested, 19 were hanged, and 1 tortured to death, all accused of witchcraft. These 5 women, Sarah Good, Elizabeth Hovey, Susanna Martin, Rebecca Nurse, and Sarah Wiles, were among the first to be tried and found guilty of witchcraft. Sarah Good had been among the first local women to be arrested after several girls from the village experienced mysterious afflictions. The previous February, one bitterly cold evening, 2 girls, Betty and Abigail, the daughter and niece of the local minister, began displaying signs of disturbing behavior, which was described as beyond the power of fits or natural disease. They screamed, made unearthly sounds, suffered convulsions, and violently threw objects and themselves around. It was total chaos. When people asked the girls who was it that had afflicted them, they named Good, Sarah Good, a homeless woman who lived at the edge of the town. The girls' accusations was that Good had afflicted them by performing dark magic. Good was a witch. It did not end well for Good. She was found guilty and hanged. In the 300 years since the Salem witch trials, experts have tried to come up with possible reasons for the girls' behavior. In 1976, a study pointed out that it could have been an effect of the bread that they ate, rye bread that was infected with ergot of rye. So it might have been because of their food. Or was it the classic case of spite and vengeance? Did somebody want to hurt these women that lived at the outskirts of the town? Or was it the dark entities that walked upon earth? Were the women really witches? Did they conjure dark things out of thin air, making people suffer? No one will ever know. The Salem witch trials will simply remain one of the most gruesome murders in the history of the world. We have more facts about the Salem witch trials. It is a dark tale filled with menace and murders. So comment down below if you want a separate video to be made about this. While talking about LeapDay, did you know that people in Scotland believe that LeapDay is bad for babies? Babies born on a LeapDay will live a life of suffering. Farmers in Scotland also worry for their livestock, as they say, leap year was never a good sheep year. In fact, in Italy, LeapDay superstitions advise against buying a house or a car and waiting until the next year to avoid bad luck. Russians believe that in leap years there is a greater likelihood of freak weather and storms and higher risk of death. So, there is something truly off about LeapDay. Comment down below what do you think about it. We looked into the recent past and dug up a horrifying accident that befell on February 1, 2003. 16 minutes before it was scheduled to land, the space shuttle Columbia broke apart in flight over West Texas, killing all the 7 crew members. One of the crew members was Kalpana Chawla from India, who was admired all over for her hard work and ambition. She was no more. This accident might have resulted from the damage caused during liftoff, when a piece of insulating foam broke off and pierced a hole in the left wing of the shuttle. The hot gases penetrated as it entered the Earth's atmosphere. It wasn't a good end for them. Was it fate? Or was it bad luck? Or was it February itself that caused such misfortune? Suffice to say that February did not spell good in the space too. That is the second month of the year, filled with serial killers, murders, mysteries, and witchcraft. February certainly has a bit of everything, doesn't it? Not the brightest of months, we can say. We would like to thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button. Do not forget to subscribe. Comment down below which event you found the most intriguing.